Hello, everybody. It's me, Carmine DeStefano, the Bookman. And I've returned from seeing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the second Black Panther movie, and I have to admit, I'm not disappointed. But then again, my expectations were not that high. To be fair, the reason is because I was not a fan of the first movie. And if you want to know why, you can watch my review of the first movie. It had a plot, but it's just whatever. Anyway, the trailers were pretty interesting. We saw Quantumania again, and we saw the greatest movie that's going to be made next year, and that is, of course, the Super Mario Brothers movie. But now the movie itself, the plot, the main idea, is I'm going to give you a critique. I'm not going to give you a fanboy opinion. This is a critique. So the first thing you have to do is you have to look at what the main idea is based on the context in the film. And the main idea is basically the subplot of Black Panther from Civil War. See, the main idea from Civil War was responsibility. But the subplot involving Black Panther was loss and grief. And this movie is about loss and grief, obviously, with the loss of Chadwick Boseman, because I try not to. I don't want to see, and I don't want to bring up the YouTube woke Gestapo police here on this forum, because their opinions are that of spoiled children, and I don't care enough to hear about the ramblings and screaming and squealing of spoiled children. When you have a movie as good as Thor: Love and Thunder, which was too good a movie to be a comic book movie. The comic book movies don't deserve to be that good a movie. And you hear them bitch about pacing issues, and then, of course, the woke bullshit, that's when you just have to tune them out. I can't listen to them. So, clearly with this one, there is more than enough ammunition for the woke police to go off on it. Again, I don't spoil anything. But what I'm saying is that the connection between Namor and the Talokan and the Wakandans, the main plot is about grief. Loss and grief. The introduction of Namor was actually the reason why I went to see this movie, because this is a character that is too damn important in the Marvel comic universe to have been lost for this long in the cinematic universe. It's ridiculous that it's taken this long to introduce Namor. They completely changed his backstory. Completely. It's totally different. For those of you that have read, and I've read some Namor comics, it's not that backstory. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that there is, unfortunately, a DC universe. Because despite the fact that DC can make better comics than Marvel, their movies are fucking dog shit. And if anyone tries to tell me about the Batman, I'm going to stomp you out completely. Because the last thing we need is to see DC try to remake Seven. Just like when they tried to remake Taxi Driver and called it The Joker. See, we don't need DC stealing movies and trying to make their own with no plots other than the poor trying to fight back against the rich shit that they do a million times over, or whatever the fuck they try to attempt to make into something deeper than a fucking comic movie. This movie, you can't complain about its depth. It is fucking emotional. Now, I didn't get too deep into the emotion of it. The rest of the theater, which was jam-packed, they were totally into this movie. Again, I came here to see Namor. Now, it's called Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. It's not called Namor the Submariner, Wakanda Forever, or Talokan or Atlantis Forever. So the main idea is how Wakanda deals with their loss and their losses, plural, towards the end, and I'm not going to tell you what that means. But the connection to Talokan and Namor's backstory and losses, which was interesting. Again, not the comic. If you're expecting the sea captain finding the Atlantean woman or whatever and they fall up, that ain't happening. You're going to be disappointed. But more or less, the movie was a good movie. It was a very deep, good movie. The inclusion of Riri Williams, listen, I've read Riri Williams comics, okay? I never saw it as anything more than an attempt at fan service. That's all it was. I mean, I liked how they included her in this movie. If they're going to force her into this cinematic universe, which I just don't think her character is necessary in the cinematic universe, per se. There are other characters they can explore, but I'm not going to be offended. I don't give a shit if she's in it. I'm not going to talk about, whoa, can all women replacing men and all that stupid shit. She's in it, she's in it. I thought it was very clever the way they did it. I actually like her movie version better than I do her comic. Comic version's just a blank slate. She's not, and again, I'm not looking for characters, I'm looking for storylines. It's just that her storylines are basically ripped from Iron Man, but she's not, Iron Man wasn't that great a character either in the comic books, but whatever, he still had some reason to do what he did. I don't see any reason for Riri Williams. I don't see any motivations, and I could be wrong. I've only read a couple of them. But, like I said, I did like the way they included her in this movie. And she has her time, like they say in the wrestling business, to do her shit. Namor had his time to do his shit, and he did a lot of shit. I mean, again, there could have been more with him, but then it would steal from what the whole main idea is about. But I got nervous at a moment. I don't want to spoil too much, but he survives. Don't worry, he survives. But we'll see what they do with him in the future. I'm really excited. But they did show that this dude can play, man. He can ball. He's no joke. The only problem I had was, and I'm not telling you why, I'm just going to mention that in the comics, when he's on the surface too long, or he's in the water too long, he becomes berserk. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's about it. But overall, listen, if you liked the first Black Panther movie, this movie gets down, man. It gets dark. It gets serious. Its tones are not... You can't talk about pacing. It doesn't know if it wants to be a comedy or whatever. Nah, this movie isn't fucking around. You're going to feel it. And you're going to, if you like the first Black Panther, you're going to really enjoy this one. Like I said, the crowd was nuts. They were going crazy. If you weren't into the first one, this one's better. It's better than the first one. It is. But as a movie, it doesn't matter how my enjoyment of it, my enjoyment, that doesn't matter. I'm saying as a movie, it's more concise. It gets the point across. It's there. Again, watch the movie, the context. What does the context tell you? That's the plot. If it repeats a specific tone within the dialogue, that's the plot, the main idea. So is it doing that? And when you see how the themes work with that, the contrast and cinematography and everything, don't forget, movies started off silent. You just had someone playing the piano in the background and you read text and everything. So cinematography has not really changed. It's just now they talk their own voices more or less during the pictures that you see flash in front of you, and it's digital. It's not like a flip book. So what is the dialogue and what is the theme telling you about the movie? That's what you got to look for. Or not, just enjoy it as is. But even so, like I said, I would suggest seeing it, especially if you're in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's good. I enjoyed it. And like I said, it's a good movie overall. It's better than the first. So yeah, man, I would definitely advocate seeing it. I would definitely suggest it, unless, like I said, this isn't your thing. Then it's not your thing. I thank you all for watching. More for you soon to come. So stay tuned, take care, and have a great day.